Yes.
We can go back to, I guess, the last township engineer review dated April 3rd, 2017. That's Exhibit A32. And what we've marked as Exhibit A35, which I believe is your May 19, 2017 response. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. If we could go through, probably best to just go off of Exhibit A35. You incorporated all the comments, correct?
Yes.
If you could go through the comments from the township traffic engineer and please let us know what the response was.
Certainly. So comment 1 describes 5 different comments that were previously noted. A is a comment regarding the internal roadways should be revised to provide a more continuous connection between 926 and West Pleasant Grove Road, consistent with the Township Growth Management Plan. Our response was that the proposed internal roadways do provide a connection between 926 and West Pleasant Grove Road that is appropriate through a residential development and for use by local traffic, which is generally consistent with the growth management plan. Comment B was regarding the intersections of the continuous connection between 926 and West Pleasant Grove Road should be aligned with Bridlewood at 926 and the future road extension through the Arborview commercial parcel at West Pleasant Grove Road. Our response was, as directed by PennDOT, the 926 access must be located opposite Bridlewood Boulevard, and that it was our understanding that the Arborview site access is proposed along West Pleasant Grove Road opposite the Westminster Presbyterian Church property, and therefore the Crebilly site access along that roadway could not be located opposite that proposed Arborview access. C is acknowledging that the growth management plan shows an access between the internal connection roadway and 202 within Crebilly. Based on the current scope of PennDOT's improvements, the access may no longer be appropriate, which, as I already testified to and we responded, the applicant would be willing to eliminate that site access. D, the comment refers to the internal roadways appear to provide a minimum 24-foot paved width. Consideration should be given for additional width for sidewalks, and as the response notes, the proposed width satisfy the township requirements for the street, and sidewalks will be provided along the internal roadways. Comment number 2, part A, describes the revised analysis at US 202 and PA 926 in the January 20th, 2017 submission, indicates that the southbound queues will extend beyond the proposed 202 site access, and recommends 2 potential approaches to address the issue, either identifying additional improvements at 202 and 926, or removing the 202 access, which again, we respond to, and I testified that the applicant is willing to remove the 202 access. Comment 2B, the location of the revised eastern access to West Pleasant Grove Road does not address the previous comments regarding continuity with Arborview, which I already testified. In comment number 1, we cannot locate the access opposite that due to it being opposite another property. Comment number 3. As previously noted, the count of 2016 traffic volume should be reviewed to verify the decreased volumes along 202 compared to recent previous studies of the site. We provided in our response historical data along 202 from both PennDOT and the Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission that shows decreases in traffic volumes along 202. The table 1 in the letter shows August 2013 to October 2016 and March 2017. And table 2 illustrates data from 2003, 2006, 2009, and 2012, and all show decreases in traffic. Comment number 4. Existing condition peak hour traffic counts are to be collected on a Thursday or Friday during any month from April to November. We did have one count at New Street and West Pleasant Grove Road that was slightly outside of that time period. So in response, we recounted that intersection and submitted the data. It was completed on a Thursday in April, which is in accordance with the township ordinance. Comment number 5, turn lane warrant analyses indicate the project will contribute to the need for turn lanes at the intersections of 202 and West Pleasant Grove Road and 926 and New Street. And our response was that turn lanes are warranted at these two study intersections based on existing conditions, and that the same turn lanes are warranted with the development. And that concludes the letter.
Did you also review and analyze the design and layout of the internal streets of the proposed development?
Yes.
And do you have an opinion as to whether the design and layout of the internal streets is adequate and safe?
It is.
And what is your opinion and why?
It is my opinion that due to the nature of the development as residential, the design and layout of the internal street network is such that it is not a continuous connected route that would allow for high speeds or high volumes of diverted traffic through the neighborhood. It also, with that in mind, realizing that PennDOT is requiring the 926 access to be located opposite an existing residential neighborhood in Bridlewood Boulevard, that the street design within Crebilly is more circuitous, it provides a connection between West Pleasant Grove Road and 926, but not along a direct route that would allow for those higher traffic speeds or higher volumes of diverted traffic that is of a non-local traffic nature.
I have no further questions for Ms. Kline.
Thank you, Mr. Amon. We'll start with Mr. Gill for the Planning Commission. Mr. Gill, make sure your microphone is on, please.
Sorry, thanks. Good evening, Ms. Kline. I want to start with a meeting at PennDOT which resulted in minutes from your office, but doesn't appear to have been marked as an exhibit. And that's the April 17th, 2017 meeting. Do you recall that meeting?
Yes.
And did you prepare minutes for that meeting?
Yes.
Do you have those there?
Yes, and I do believe they are marked as an exhibit.
Do you, Mr. Edmund, are they?
Yes, Exhibit 836, if you're referring to the December 2nd meeting.
No, I'm referring to the April 17th meeting.
No, I do not have that as an exhibit.
Okay. Nevertheless, Ms. Kline, do you have those minutes there with you?
I do, yes.
I'd like to review with you some things that arose from that meeting and some things that you said here this evening.
Mike, I'm sorry, can we introduce it as an exhibit?
I have one copy. I anticipated that you would mark it. We can mark it as PC3. Sure. And we'll make copies available.
Absolutely.
What was the date of the letter again?
It's minutes of a meeting which occurred at PennDOT on April 17, 2017. The Route 202 access, which had been shown on the initial conditional use plan, said it's marked as Exhibit A6. That is referenced in these minutes, if I'm not mistaken, Ms. Kline, as something that the applicant would be willing to remove. Is it your testimony to hear this evening that, in fact, the applicant has gone further and has affirmatively agreed to remove that access? Not just to consider removing it, but they will remove it.
No, they considered removing it, and they are willing to remove it. What's referenced in the minutes is there was just a very preliminary plan put together that considered that access being removed.
I'm confused. The minutes of the meeting state that Nicole highlighted the proposed access configuration. You prepared these minutes again, right?
Yes.
Nicole highlighted the proposed access configuration based on the current site plan, which will continue to evolve, period. The site access to US Route 202 has been removed from the plan based on feedback from Westtown Township, but could still be provided.
Yes, correct.
How do I jive the site access to US Route 202 has been removed from the plan based on feedback from Westtown Township with your statement a moment ago that you're not sure that it's going to be removed?
There was not a formal plan submitted to PennDOT. What was shown at the meeting was a very preliminary plan that showed what it would look like with the potential removal of that access, which is the plan that is referenced in these minutes, and that's why it says, but it could still be provided. This was not a formal submission, this was an informal meeting.
So it still is the applicant's proposal, formal proposal, as we sit here this evening, to provide the Route 202 access?
That is correct, that is what is shown on the conditional use plan.
Why is that access necessary, Ms. Kline, in your opinion?
Well, if that access were to be removed, then all of the traffic traveling southbound along 202 that wants to enter the site would do so along West Pleasant Grove Road. So this provides two options for that traffic. They can either turn right onto West Pleasant Grove Road and come in one of the two accesses there, or they could turn right directly off of 202. So it just provides options.
Are you seeing removal of the ingress from 202 and removal of the egress to 202 as being part and parcel, or could you just have a right-in from 202 without the egress from the development?
You could have right in, right out, you could have right in or right out, or you could remove the access. All are viable options.
Have you studied any or all of those?
We have preliminarily studied all of them.
And what are the results of those analyses?
The results really are unchanged in general. Like I said, the options are for that traffic to either use West Pleasant Grove Road to access the site in or out, or to exiting traffic could potentially, if it's exiting traffic that wishes to travel south on 202, they could also come out of the access on 926 and do so at 926 and 202.
Given the fact, as you just stated a moment ago, that the impact on the studied intersections is unchanged, to use your word, and understanding that the Township Planning Commission would like to see the 202 access removed, why would you do anything other than recommend to your client that it agree to remove the access?
That was a recommendation based on the Planning Commission review. There are others at the township that may have a different opinion, so it was really just vetting through the entire process and understanding what the township as a whole desired in terms of that access.
If this board is inclined to grant the conditional use approval and impose a condition that the 202 access be removed entirely, is that something that you would support in your capacity as the applicant's consultant?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. You have there what's been marked as Exhibit A21.
Michael, you're referring to the map?
No.
Historic map?
To Kristen's letter.
Oh, that's not A20. It's B20.
I'm sorry, B20. Ms. Kline, do you have what's marked as B20?
Yes, I have that exhibit.
Okay, before we get to that, actually, let's go back to the plan. I'm sorry. I'm watching it all over the place here. So the southern access to and from the site along Street Road will in fact be lined up with Bridlewood Boulevard, correct?
As required by PennDOT, yes.
As required by But again, there haven't been any plans submitted to the township or to PennDOT to show that, correct?
That is correct.
But it is referenced in your revisions to the TIS?
Correct.
Okay. And likewise, the realignment of the accesses onto West Pleasant Grove Road that you testified to are not the subject of any, or are not depicted on any plans which have been resubmitted to the township, correct?
Correct.
But again, there's a reference in your resubmissions of your TIS.
Yes.
Do you contemplate there being any access to and from the development to New Street?
No, it is not proposed to access New Street.
Okay, this collector road that we've talked about, which has been the subject of some discussion, there's no separate road from Pleasant Grove Road to 926 other than the internal circulation patterns for the development, correct?
Within the development, that's correct. Obviously, New Street and 202 today connect those two roadways.
Understood, but when we talk about the applicant providing for a collector road or a connector road within the development, that's not a separate and distinct feature from the internal circulation plan which will service the development, correct?
There's a connection provided between those roadways with the internal roadway network, but there is not a continuous roadway that connects the two through the development.
Let me try the question another way. If there had been no mention or reference of a connector road or collector road whatsoever, the internal circulation network that we see on Exhibit A6 would still be necessary to serve the development, to allow homeowners to get to their homes, correct?
To some degree, if you want it to be fully connected, you would need to provide this. With multiple access points, you would certainly have the option to not fully connect it, but in most cases, it would be fully connected.
Okay. What would be the cases where it wouldn't be? If, say, you wanted to build two separate standalone developments on the site?
Yes, you could have a street that, dead ends in a cul-de-sac rather than connecting throughout the entire development.
Okay. Is there any adverse impact on the developer resulting from connecting this road network? Have it be a single connected pattern?
In this fashion, no.
Okay. So again, this is something that the developer would do as a matter of course as part of the development.
Generally, yes.
What about the geometry, of the internal collection circulation road network? Is there anything being done differently to facilitate connections from West Pleasant Grove down to Street Road that would otherwise not be done in terms of the width of the roadways, the surface material of the roadways?
No, it's in keeping with what would generally be done.
Okay. What would be done to service the development regardless?
Yes.
With that, I'm going to ask you to take a look at Exhibit B21. Have you seen that letter prior to your testimony here this evening?
Yes, I have.
Have you had a chance to review it?
I have reviewed it, yes.
What do you understand it to be?
I understand it to be the recommendations from the Planning Commission for the application.
Are there recommendations in Ms. Camp's letter here that are specific to your area of expertise, traffic?
Yes.
And where do those start?
I believe those start on comment 5 on page 3.
Yeah, I'd like to go through those with you. Is the applicant's response to condition number 5 what you have referred to as Exhibit A35, this May 19th, 2017 letter?
There are 3 letters in total that respond to the Township Traffic Engineer's letters, which only 2 of their letters are included here. There was a third, and we've responded to all 3, which were entered as exhibits.
Okay, so is it your statement then that the applicant has complied with proposed condition number 5?
Yes.
Okay, we've just discussed the connector road, which is the subject of condition number 6. You see that there?
Yes.
In your opinion does the connector road or the internal circulation road, which is shown on Exhibit A6, respond to condition number 6?
Well, some of the comments in condition number 5 contradict number 6.
How's that?
In one of the letters from Kinley Horn, it recommends that it may not be appropriate to provide such a continuous connector road that is referenced here.
Nevertheless, you do show a continuous connector road, correct?
We show a connection between the roadways, but I would not call it continuous because there are intersections along the way that would require the driver to make turning maneuvers.
How, if at all, has the applicant responded to the last sentence of condition number 6 regarding limiting the number of homes with frontage?
It's not in my expertise or wheelhouse to design the site, so that would be up to the applicant and their site engineer in terms of the home locations.
Okay, but the home locations, I guess it's a matter of obvious statement, that the home locations have frontage on the internal circulation roads, correct?
There are homes that have frontage, yes.
Is the traffic signalization that you described in your testimony and which is the subject of comment in your TIS, consistent with proposed condition number 8?
Yes, it is.